Hello everyone, I am Harshita Revankar from CSE Division A, roll number 372. Today I am going to discuss the topic of acid properties in DBMS. First property of acid properties is atomicity, which in simple words means nothing or all. That is, a transaction should happen completely or not at all. If any transaction or any step fails in between, then the whole transaction gets cancelled and the database returns to the previous safe state. So, to explain this topic of atomicity, I would like to say that if there are two transactions occurring and between the transaction, if any error occurs or if there is some kind of system failure between the transaction, then it should lead to nothing, which means either the transaction should be successful and it should be complete, or it should not be anything at all, means it should be totally nothing. This is about atomicity property. Next point is consistency. Follows some rules, which means after any transaction the database must remain correct and follow all rules, constraints and relationships. In simple words, it means that after any transaction the database must remain correct. That is, after any transaction occurs, then the data in the database must not change. It should remain fixed, it should remain stable. That is what the consistency property means. If the person wants to change the data in the database, then the person, that is the user themselves, should change the data in the database and it should not get changed automatically, which is all about consistency. Next property is isolation property. Here it in simple words means no mixing of transactions. So when there are two or more transactions occurring in the system at the same time, then they must not interfere with each other and each one should behave as if it is running alone. In simple words, if there are two transactions occurring in a database system, then it should not interfere with one another, which means if there is one transaction, suppose we are sending money from person A to person B's account, then that transaction should remain independent. That is, only person A to person B's account, that is deduction of money, should happen. It should not affect any remaining other transactions. So it also means that the one single transaction which is happening, it should run at one time even if there are multiple transactions occurring in the system, database system. Next property is durability property, which means data stays safe. It is, once a transaction is completed and saved, the data will remain stored even if the power fails and system crashes, etc. In simple words, it here means that once a data is stored in the database system or a transaction occurs in a database system, then it is completed, and when it is saved, it should remain saved only, means it should remain stored. It should not change at all at any cost, even if someone wants to change it. It should remain stable, it should remain consistent, it should remain durable even if power fails, system crashes. It is somewhat like the random raw memory, that is read only memory, in which it is the same concept that the data does not get erased or it does not get deleted from the memory even if the system crashes, if there is a device failure or any kind of problem. The data remains safe and secure, and it stays as it was before. So there are no changes in the data in the database. It will never change. If one wants to change it, then the user who wishes to change it should change, who has entered the data. No other person can change who has unauthorized access. And also, if we are saving the data, it is one of the permanent record and it will not get changed. That is why the database datas are mostly durable. So these were the four properties of acid properties in DBMS. That is, first one was atomicity, which means all or nothing in a transaction. That is, the transaction should be either all or it should not be nothing. That is, it should be either complete or it should be nothing at all. Then second one was consistency, where consistency means the data should remain consistent throughout the transaction process. It should not get inconsistent between the process. Third process is isolation. In isolation, we have understood that the data should remain isolated. It should not interfere with other databases and data. that is all about isolation. And fourth point was durability. Durability means the data remains safe and same at all the points. It does not change, it does not get uh, affected by any kind of transaction or event. Thank you for listening to me so patiently. Have a good day.